the guy that created Ethereum just donated $1.5 billion in crypto to nonprofits.
Right.
And if they can't take it, if they don't have a crypto wallet and don't know how to understand it, they're going to miss out. And he said, because this is just one guy. There's a bunch of people that have made a lot of money, and they're all about giving it away. And he's going to go into all that stuff. So,
Awesome.
you want to kick us off, my friend, and get
Yeah.
us going there, Trevor, and we'll
Well,
get rolling.
I'm so enthralled with this topic actually, and I want Derek to just start going for it. But of course, as usual, hello everyone. We're going to have the Q&A function monitoring that. Any questions? There's no dumb questions. I'm going to ask plenty of them, of course. This is a topic that, I don't understand completely, of course. And I even play in it a little bit and have for a few years. So this is really, really fun. So Jason and I are super happy to have Derek Kinghorn on. He's obviously a fundraising enthusiast and obviously an expert in this space. Sorry, Derek, for the pressure with that title, but but this is awesome. I'm really, really excited because what a cool opportunity to take advantage of. We were just having this conversation before I think we started the recording. Was we can never underestimate how much money is in the system. This vessel, these tools, I should say, have created a lot of wealth and put a lot of wealth into the system. And these are folks that are looking to give on the national level, the local level, and we want to uncover these truths because it's evident, that it's happening. So really, really fun. So Derek, thanks so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to just kind of frame this up for everybody. So just one more thing, a few people popped on. Stay to the end because we've got a giveaway. We'll be out of here by absolutely within the hour. Just like always, please, if you have questions, just start pumping them out. You can do it down the Q&A, do it through chat, and we'll get to every question, I assure you. This is a really interesting topic. And so I've known Derek for a long time. He is married to what I consider my other daughter. It's actually my daughter. And some of you guys know her, Morgan, who works with us here at HGA, and they've been best friends since they were like eight years old. And so Derek is married to Alana, but he is just a really, really bright. He's what I call a brain. And I'm not just saying that because he's here, but because it's true. He's just really, really a smart guy. Has worked, for the U.S. government and IT, works for the largest privately held company on the planet. And he's really, really good. And he has a great way thoughtful way of explaining this. So I'm really glad you're here, Derek. And brother, we're going to just hop on and let things get going.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, thank you for the introduction. Thanks for having me. Definitely excited to kind of share my knowledge. Sharing is caring, as they say. So I wanted to kind of maybe introduce this type of space to, people that were seeking funding, fundraising, nonprofits, the whole nine, because I thought there was a big lack of understanding from their perspective. And, how does one kind of go about, seeking this, $1.5 billion, right, from a guy that has, trillions of dollars, from in this space. And so, I kind of laid out a series of, let's kind of ramp it up. Like, let's build the base, and then let's see how we can kind of push forward and allow, your organizations to go ahead and receive, these donations or whatever the case is. Right. So if you want to, Jason, you can bring up the slideshow that I created.
All right. So just so you know, everybody, if you'll put in gallery view, and we'll get you going, and I'm going to stop your video for just a second, Trevor, and that way they can just see.
Full disclosure, I do have about a 1-year-old, so if you hear her in the background, I apologize. My wife's on vacation and my niece is helping out, so I apologize for that. But she needed her time off, so I just wanted to. If you hear a little fussy in the background, I'm sorry. So
that's all right.
That's all right, man. We're used to it now.
We prefer it. We prefer it, actually, Derek. We love kids.
Cool. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, Jason.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're getting into is cryptocurrency charity contributions, and first we need to lay a ground foundation on what is cryptocurrency. You hear a lot in the news about Dogecoin or Bitcoin, or, you know, a millionaire down the street that put in $10, right? It's crazy. So there's a lot of this information out there, and it's kind of information overload with this 24 hours news cycle. So I defined it in the easiest way possible. And so if you'll read along with me, cryptocurrency is a form of currency that runs off verification, where records are maintained by a decentralized system, and we'll come back to that, rather than a central authority, which in America we have as the Federal Reserve, right? In England, they have the Bank of England, right? And, you know, so there's all of these centralized authorities that give ethos to a currency. You know, if you go to a developing nation, right, and you want to spend their currency, well, some nations have a few different currencies, kind of depending on where you're at in the country. And the only reason that is because of the authority to enforce the currency. So with cryptocurrency, it's actually decentralized. So there's no central point of authority on it. And so that's why you see in the news, there's a lot of talk about legislation and, you know, all of these things to kind of combat like crime and, you know, things like that. And, you know, that's kind of a way of the past, right? So people think of, you know, cryptocurrency as, you know, oh, well, I know hackers or, you know, someone in that those type of people use it. Well, not so much anymore. I mean, if you look at companies like JP Morgan Chase, they actually opened a division called Onyx. And Onyx actually has the JP Morgan coin that's used for internal transactions. And it actually saved their company 85% of the cost of transacting nationally. So from internationally, so from nation to nation. So you start to see a wide acceptance of a decentralized system. And so that's kind of hard for us to imagine, especially coming from, you know, the dollar is one of the strongest things in the world, right? It's pretty much accepted anywhere, and you can find an exchange anywhere. To whereas cryptocurrency, it's online. You know, you can see the rates. You know, you don't have to go, you know, in a back alley and exchange, you know, your US dollar for, you know, a couple pesos or whatever the case is. So it's kind of good to start wrapping your mind and opening up your understanding of what cryptocurrency is. So we can kind of press forward, Jason.
Okay.
So this right here is just to show you guys how big of a market it actually is. So the cryptocurrency market currently is at $2 trillion. And since 2018, it's had a 30% compound annual growth rate, which as a company and as organizations, you know how hard that is to do. So the scale of it is massive. And I don't want to undertone that at all, because in America, we hold 40% of that market.
Wow.
So that's $800 billion today. And I put some statistics in there for everybody to kind of see. Yeah.
So Derek, just to give a concept of comparison, it's 3 trillion. What is out worldwide? Like, how can we compare that? You know, because a trillion, billion, that's just it's people, you know, it's hard to fathom what that is, but isn't that like the US GDP? In our GDP, like $2 trillion, $3 trillion?
Sure. Yeah. So when you're talking like GDP or, you know, total economic value, you know, this encompasses, you know, continents. So if you can imagine how big a continent is, that's the type of money that's out there. And that's kind of what I wanted to relay with this, right? Was to don't underestimate, like Trevor was saying earlier, the sources of the monetary value. And so, you know, in 2026, you know, we're looking at 3 trillion, and we're looking at 45 million Americans that own crypto. And so we have to kind of relate this. It's like, okay, I understand what it is. I understand how big the market is. Now let's kind of talk about, you know, how it's going to benefit you and, you know, who it's benefiting already, right? So, you know, 45 million Americans, you know, 1 in 3, 1 in 4 Americans is going to, excuse me, own cryptocurrency. And so the thing about cryptocurrency is the IRS has defined it. And so it's already legislated for processes of tax. And so with that being said, to avoid capital gains tax, a lot of people would rather donate their money than give it to the IRS. And that's a, however you feel about that, okay, but that's just a fact. So now why you should care. National projects that are utilizing cryptocurrency, UNICEF, United Way, Feed the Children, American Red Cross, they are all accepting cryptocurrency donations, and they do pretty well from them. You know, you just have to think about how many lives, you know, those organizations have impacted in a good way, right? I remember when my house was hit in 2013 by a tornado, you know, the United Way was out there and they were helping out. So, and, you know, along with a lot of your organizations and fundraising efforts, you know, you guys are helping local communities. And Jason will tell you, I'm a normal guy, you know, and to see the United Way out there providing and helping and just doing what they could, I now donate to United Way every month. So like that little impact, you know, back in 2013, you know, when I really kind of started this adventure of, you know, IT and cryptocurrency, and, you know, I was in it for a while, but, you know, those little impacts on a guy like me that really didn't, you know, I didn't really have much to offer besides I knew I had insurance, right? And so then they were able to make that impact, and it paid back to them, you know, tenfold for sure.
I want to say, just take a pause and just make just kind of an observation. It's something that we've talked about in past webinars, and we talk about a lot is, I'm going to say you know, whatever generation you want to call it now, but you know, people of your age and everything like that they don't give in the traditional way that maybe my generation did, or my parents or my grandparents did with those large deals. They kind of spread it around. And, you know, there's a lot of thought saying, well, you know, they may not be as donating. They don't write the big checks. They don't do it, but they do. And one of the reasons that they do is they get behind a cause. You know, you had a personal story. Everybody that's on here is directly responsible for a nonprofit and fundraising and making those connections. And they've got somebody who's a fan because, and it's their mission. The mission drives always the most important thing that they have and what they do and who it impacts. But I think that part of what you're saying, what I hear you saying is 46 million Americans are going to own crypto. A lot of them are going to be from your generation, Derek, that, you know, 30 and below. My almost 18-year-old son does as well. And it's just an easy way for them to transact business. And that's part of why we're here and talking about this, because this is a huge resource for all of you guys out there in the nonprofit world to be able to tap into. It's going to happen. It's happening already, as you showed all the nationals. So this is, you know, to just set the stage about how you guys can set your own stage to be able to receive the benefit from this. So that's really kind of why I wanted to stop for a second, and just, it kind of ties into all that generational giving that we see happening.
Sure. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. Sorry.
Okay.
I just get so pumped up about, you know, trying to deliver, you know, a really good presentation of, you know, how big it is and why people need to at least consider getting involved. And, you know, if it works for them, great. If it doesn't, I totally understand. But, you know, understanding the process, I think, is going to be where most people, you know, kind of are going to get lost, right? So they understand that, you know, nobody owns, you know, a decentralized system like the Federal Reserve. You know, we know that belongs to the United States, right? So, you know, when you go about understanding the process of, you know, how do I receive crypto donations? And so I tried to make it just as simple and as plain as I could. So basically, you know, a donor or, you know, someone you know, or you reached out to, and actually there's a lot of organizations that if you apply to for a cryptocurrency, you know, aid, they will actually send money to from an organization, which there's a ton of those too, which, you know, we'll get into. So donors will send the cryptocurrency to your organizational wallet. And so when we're talking about a wallet, okay, I wanted to break that down. And so a wallet is just how it sounds. So a wallet is anything that can receive, you know, a coin or a cryptocurrency token. And so what we do with that is, you know, everybody in this space has, you know, a unique wallet. It's kind of like I would say it's kind of like a bank account number, but in the sense that it just belongs to either the organization or a person, or, you know, fill in the blank. So they would send it to your wallet, and then once you received it, it would say, hey, you just received 1 Bitcoin. And it's like, well, cool. You know, what do I do with a Bitcoin? You know, I have this fundraising opportunity I'd like to pursue, but obviously, you know, I'm going to have to cash in my Bitcoin. Once you receive the Bitcoin, you know, you can go through an exchange. You can then convert it to a US dollar, or, you know, a pound, wherever you're at in the world. And then with that exchange, it'll send it to your account. And so that's how people kind of get money in and out of the crypto space, right? So once you get the coin, it's like, okay, I can either hold it, you know, and I can see if it wants to raise in value, or what I can do is I can go ahead and cash it out immediately and put that money in the bank and have some reserve funds. So it's totally dependent on the organization. So
what do you see? What just in the research and things that you were doing for this? Did you see? Is there been a trend one way or the other for people to hold on to it, or do they cash it out pretty quick and turn it into dollars so they can start using it for their mission or anything like that?
Sure, yeah. So what I've basically noticed is, so each company is going to have their own risk management framework, right? So in the sense that you know, if they need you know, available funds, they're obviously, and that's pretty significant for a lot of companies, right? So what like most companies do more on the local level is once they receive it, they'll exchange it for funds and have it sent to the organizational, like, US dollar account.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we do that, that's fine. But then a lot of companies were noticing that with Bitcoin, you know, especially we'll say 2-3 years ago, a lot of them were noticing it was increasing faster than what they were able to really cash it out, right? So they were getting all these donations from people. And what happened was they were like, well, you know, we didn't know that it was going to increase like this. So instead of Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's all types of coins out there that exponentially grow. And so they kind of moved to a model of like a 70-30, 60-40 approach, where they're willing to, you know, take on that donation, you know, maybe cash out 60% of it, but let 40% of it kind of accumulate and build a good little nest egg for the company itself to draw upon on later times. Because if they don't need money, or they don't need the funds actually in the organizational like US dollar account, they'll let it ride. So like, for example, I believe it was United Way, or don't misquote me on this, it was one of the major organizations. Their whole policy on their cryptocurrency donations is a 70-30 approach. So they'll take 70% out immediately, and they'll let 30% kind of accumulate.
Yeah.
So, and they kind of keep track of that internally. So it was just an article I read off of an interview kind of for this space.
That's interesting. Hey, Derek, we've got a question. I think that's really interesting. Christy said, how can we pay our staff and people with crypto? Is that just something like if they receive those donations, instead of having to convert it to dollars, could they just pay out of, because that's a great question. I have no idea how that works as far as taxes and income tax and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as like the tax space, I'll definitely look into that. But You know, it's as easy as, you know, let's say you're an organization and, you know, you receive, you know, 10 Bitcoin, which is a fortune. And you want to pay, you know, your employees out with, you know, a couple Bitcoin or whatever the case is, right? And the reason I keep using Bitcoin is because it's the most prominent. It's not really realistic as far as like
what's it back to? What's it trading at right now?
I think it's hovering in the, I don't know.
40,000.
I'll tell you right now. Yeah.
So what you're saying, so, you know, somebody got 10 Bitcoin, that's $400,000.
It's just below 40,000.
Yeah. So you could sit there and do that. So what you're saying is if, Derek, if we're an organization and I'm a nonprofit and I've received, you know, we received a Bitcoin, which was, you know, $40,000. And I said, you know, I don't want to convert this. I'm just going to go ahead and use this to pay some employees. It's from a transactional standpoint, it's just as simple as sending that bit, you know, just sending that amount of Bitcoin or a fraction of it to that employee's wallet.
Sure. Yeah. And, you know, there's a couple different ways you can go about it. You know, all your employees can have wallets, and, you know, if they are okay with you paying them in Bitcoin, that's great. Now, as far as like, you know, tax withholdings and things like that, you know, that's, you know, I can definitely dive into it. I know there's platforms out there that actually people sign up for, and I'm unsure about, you know, what they cost or anything like that. But I know there's, you know, like the Paycoms or the, you know, the ADPs out there that actually have a platform to pay their employees with cryptocurrency. And so it's not new.
So chances are, if you've already got a payroll company that's doing your payroll, they're a lot likely to have an option for you.
The forward thinking ones are, right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they definitely do have those payroll type of companies out there.
Hey, what's the cost of a wallet? I mean, just wild guess. Robert asked that to set one up.
Sure, yeah, it's free. Great question. 100% free.
We'll just so one of the things we're going to do is we're going to send some links and along with these slides and the recording and everything like we do every week. We'll be sharing these resources with you guys directly. So, you know, as we go along here, we'll definitely do that.
But also, hey, just so we can clarify Christy's question as well, is that, I mean, that the donation of Bitcoin, insert the name of the coin, of course, as necessary. Mm-hmm. But the donation of Bitcoin could easily be converted into US dollars and pay the employees that way as well, right? You know, if the payroll company doesn't support disbursement of any cryptocurrency. So that exactly. Would be too. Yeah, that'd be a super easy fix. Hey, Derek, I'm not trying to jump the gun on any other points or slides, but like Robert's question about the cost of a wallet. Well, what do we recommend as far as what's a good wallet for a nonprofit to use? I mean, these are some of the links that we're going to put in the show notes, right? But I mean, can they just open a Coinbase account on behalf of their organization? What do you recommend? And I know you're not, you know, paid by any of these organizations, but it's like, which ones would you recommend would be a good vessel or a good wallet?
Sure. Yeah. So there's a lot of companies out there that offer free wallet, crypto wallets that support, you know, thousands of coins. You have really three major coins that are out there. And, you know, in our next series, I was going to go actually into the different types of coins and wallets, how you set that up, and, you know, how a company can just do it for free because it's so accessible to everybody, because nobody owns it. It's decentralized, right? And so when I say it's free to set up, it's totally free. Hey, thank you, Christy. It's totally free for you as an organization to just set it up and put your wallet address out there. It's not like an account to where like, hey, you know, wire me money. Here's my routing and accounting number, right? And then you send that out there. Well, that's kind of sketchy, right? No one wants to do that. I'm not going to put my stuff out there on the internet. I don't care who I am. And so the great thing with cryptography is, you know, this is kind of the IT side of stuff. You have public and private. Well, the public is just like your home address, like someone sending you a letter. Now your private is you being able to go open your mailbox, pull out your mail, and then close it back up, right? So you have a public and a private side. And that's the great thing about cryptocurrency is when you put your wallet address out there, it's public. You know, it doesn't have a name attached to it or anything. So when you're asking people to please donate, and you need to make sure that your wallet address is correct, because if they think they're, you know, donating to HGA and they accidentally, you know, donate to the guy down the street, right? It's just important to kind of create your brand, create your story, have your address visible and available for people to see. And then on your website or, you know, documentation that you push out to individuals that are your donor base, to have that readily available to check, right? So people know in the space, hey, okay, yep, this is Derek. Okay, I went to Derek's website. Yep, this is Derek. Let me send him money because I like what he's doing, right? And it's 100% free. And
Hey,
so
Derek,
we'll get
no, go. I just wanted to jump to another question. And I don't know that this is something that we, you know, I'm going to kind of take a stab at it for just a little bit, but I'd like to get your input and anybody else that, you know, wants to pipe in on it, because we know that one of the things that, you know, when Nash, the question is, how can a nonprofit diversify its endowment by investing in crypto? And what policies should be in place to ensure that the conversion to a non-cash asset doesn't violate donor intent? One of the things that you know, every organization is going to be different. You're going to have your own bylaws and the way that you operate and the board and those rules and everything. But do you have anything specific that just pops to mind that within that, Derek, that you could share at this point? And just so you know, we're going to make sure that we're going to give you an email at the end of this when we send out everything. You'll get Derek's, and he agreed that he'll answer questions if somebody has a question or something, that he'll do that. And so really cool, you know, that he's going to share this knowledge. So anyway, you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, as far as, you know, how can a nonprofit diversify its endowment by investing in crypto? You know, to be quite honest, the crypto market is pretty much the most unregulated, regulated investment in the world, right? So even though that sounds just ridiculous, it's so unregulated in the fact that, you know, me and Jason and Trevor can go and invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a coin. And when we do that, you know, it's going to drive the coin value up. And so if we get a lot of people on board and we start driving up this coin and we slowly take profit off of our gain, you know, we're going to then have to, let's go back to the heavy regulated side, tell the IRS that, hey, we really have just made some money here. So I don't know how the diversification portfolio works as far as fundraising and investments and things like that. But I don't know if, Jason, you could probably help me out to this. If, you know, if you're making money off of investments as a nonprofit, what the reportable is that you have to kind of initiate to the IRS. I think it's like the 8223 or something like that, or like when someone.
Yeah, I'm not real sure that part of it, and that's, you know, we could definitely get somebody to probably come on, and, you know, your accountants can probably answer to some of that. Well, I think though, one of the things that we're seeing is, I don't think there's any nonprofits that are buying Bitcoins and, you know, Trevor donates $100,000 to the organization, to ABC Charity, and they take that 100,000 and go and buy Bitcoin with it because they think, well, you know, it could go up, because it's a very volatile market as well. It has gone up 30% every year, but it's also taken some huge plunges, and all of a sudden that availability. I think with, you know, one of the things that Derek has been talking about is when somebody makes a donation, because if an individual bought some Bitcoin at $10,000, they sold it at $58,000, you know, it's up to $58,000, and they want to take some money out, they've got a huge capital gains issue. I mean, they're going to have a big tax bill on that gain. So what a lot of them have been doing is taking some of the gain. They're going, hey, I made, I'm worth $100 million now, and I started with 10,000. And there are some cases like that. It's incredible. They're giving those coins away. They're literally giving them away. And that's where, the guy who created Ethereum, which is a crypto coin, gave away $1.5 billion in crypto. So if you couldn't accept it, you didn't get to play with that money. And he's just one guy. That's just one person. And I think I'm going to get back to your slides here in just a sec, let you finish this up. We're halfway through our deal. So I think that's really important that they're not investing in crypto. They're receiving crypto, taking a portion of it and converting it to US dollars, and then leaving the rest of it in there just to kind of keep going that's kind of been the model. I hope that answers the question. So,
and Derek, speak to this as well. You brought up something on a more macro scale just now about, hey, if we get together and Jason and Derek and I invest $100 million in Bitcoin, and we get more people to jump on the bandwagon, that's going to drive up the value. Now, layman terms, that means that there's only so many. There's a supply and demand. There's a scarcity involved. Can you speak to that just briefly, or am I cutting in line with some of these slides?
No, not at all. So a hard thing for people, and this is just an intro to crypto. So if you came for a super in depth, that'll be later, right? We're just trying to lay the groundwork, and
we just want to see if anybody had an interest.
Yeah. So one of the best things to wrap your head around, because we live in such a physical world, right? One of the biggest things that we have to do is we have to wrap our mind around digital scarcity. And when you think of digital, you don't think of scarce, right? They're kind of at opposite spectrums. Yeah. And so when you wrap your mind around digital scarcity, you kind of can compare it to an artisan that can only create so much, right? If he's a special crafter, he does special furniture, or, they do special functions, there's only so much time of that person to give. Well, that's where the cap comes in. So you're going to have a max supply. And so when you have a max supply of something, then that creates a digital scarcity, just like that artisan's, furniture. And then it drives up the price, just like an artist, right? Why are Van Goghs so expensive? Because there was only one Van Gogh, right? So there was only one Da Vinci. He only had so much time to make so many paintings. So you have to wrap your mind around digital scarcity, and then you can kind of wrap your mind around why this is valuable, and why you as an organization really need to consider, hey, I now understand it, because it's, hey, I might not understand the technology, but I understand the value, right? So to kind of get to that point, Trevor, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I just think it's a good point just to encapsulate everything, that there is a supply and demand involved. That's right. I think that's lovely. And obviously, great way to describe it with regard to the artist. That's a whole another topic. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We can go to the next slide. I just kind of put some advantages about accepting cryptocurrency versus other things that are out there. So this is a peer-to-peer pay system, and I kind of touched on it a bit talking about JP Morgan. JP Morgan created a division solely for this purpose, right? Because they don't have to go through the legality involved to send money, or quote unquote cryptocurrency, across national lines. So if you're trying to get money into the hands of the people that need it, right? You always hear that, and that's what you always want to happen. Cryptocurrency is the fastest way. There's no middleman, there's no banking institution, there's nothing. It's your wallet and theirs, whether you're sending or receiving. So I think
what you're saying is it's instantaneously. It's not like where you go and you Cash App, PayPal, write a check, something like that, where the funds have to clear. It is instant.
Yeah. So what happens when you send or donate money is it'll say, okay, you want to send this. All right, I'm going to reach out to this wallet and ensure that it's a correct wallet. Once it verifies the wallet address, it's going to say, all right, I sent it. That's it. That's literally it. So, and it's all running.
A smart contract, Derek? Is that a smart contract? Is that why they refer to it that way? Is that a silly question?
Yeah, so there's a few different types of smart contracts, and we can cover that too. A lot of the national organizations, and this was actually in a slideshow I'm working on for the series, is a lot of the I think in the comments Leonard mentioned it. The 70-30 conversion is a good policy. Yeah, you're totally correct, Leonard. What a lot of people will do is they'll implement a smart contract for certain coins that when they receive it into their wallet, they'll automatically begin the process of converting it to the US dollar and getting it into their account, but then the 30% remains, right? So there's different types of contracts. Smart contract is kind of a buzzword at this point because a lot of people don't understand what it does, and it's really just a macro transactional deal. So, you know, that's kind of as far as I want to go into that, but yeah, you're right, Trevor. So, and you know, with these instantaneous transactions, I think Jason touched on it earlier. Our generation is a lot different about giving. You know, if we sympathize or we connect with something that's happened to us or something that's happened to my grandmother or whatever the case is, and you see value in a project that's operating in a space that you appreciate, that's instantaneous. So you're like, you know what? I made 5,000 in Bitcoin last night, right? I want to go ahead and send that over there. Like, these guys are doing a really good job and I want to send it to them. Boom, instantaneous. So you go from, you know, let me think about it. How do I write a check? Where do I transfer the money to? I can donate via PayPal, but then there's, you know, there's all the stuff or whatever the case is. With this, it's just once you reach your target audience, it's there. So, and kind of, you know, that kind of goes into the social aspect of, you know, what cryptocurrency is. It's actually all public record. So if you have a wallet, you know, I said it operates on a decentralized system. That being said, this decentralized system is, sorry, I was reading the questions. I got sidetracked. The thing about operating on this decentralized system is that, you know, it's available and visible to anybody and everybody. So you can go out there right now and see how much Bitcoin or Ethereum has been donated to United Way. So, and you can actually post, like, on your website, your wallet transactions, like, hey, we want to thank everybody. This is, and, you know, I've been noticing a lot on bigger organizations, they're tracking what they're doing with the money, right? And you know, hey, our crypto is for this section of our organization. And so people are getting behind that because it's visible, right? And then they see their wallet address, you know, on your website. So they're like, hey, that was me. Like, they don't even know it, but I just sent them 10 grand. So with our generation, there's a lot of social media. There's a lot of, hey, you know, Instagram, you know, all these social platforms. And if you think about the blockchain and decentralized systems where everything's public, they know they did it. And that's what matters, kind of, to our generation.
Smart.
Hey, Leonard had a question about asking if there's any recommendations or resources you could share in terms of internal control procedures, like wallet to bank account, who holds the seed key in the organization, et cetera.
Yeah, sure. And that's going to be defined within the organization itself. Now, I would love to, you know, work with HGA and kind of set up, you know, some information to help you guys along and, you know, build that out for your organization. And, you know, but usually, depending on the organization and, you know, who's the treasurer, or it kind of resolves in kind of that financial sector. But, you know, if the treasurer isn't really up to date on, you know, cryptocurrency, it's going to be kind of a tough time. So
well, I think one of the things what we'll do, because I think these are, you know, all this stuff brings up more questions, and I know that you have a lot of stuff to give. And what we'll do, just kind of reiterate, we're going to send some information about, you know, how to get a wallet, some resources, and just where you can go to get that done. And obviously, if you have questions after this, that, you know, you've got some more specific things, we'd be happy to help you any way we can to do that. So, you know, and that's just not a solicitation, it's just an offer of information. So I'll pull those slides back up and we'll get on to the next one and get through this. We're just about 18 minutes left in the hour. So we want to wrap this up and give you guys a good base.
Yeah, sure. So, and I scoured the web and I tried to put together the most complex profile of your new donor base, right? This is a new donor demographic in the crypto space. This isn't anything else but a demographic of the people that are involved and donate and accumulate cryptocurrency. And so we'll kind of go down and avoid some misconceptions, right? So the misconceptions of cryptocurrency, I kind of touched on them earlier, but I was trying to wait. You know, it's the conspiracy theorist that, you know, the Federal Reserve is going to crash and I need to get into crypto. And, you know, he's kind of like the paranoid speculator. And, you know, we all know a guy that knows a guy like this, right? That lives in a bunker. And then there's another conspiracy, right? He's a loner. He's just in the basement. He probably lives with his mom and he's into crypto and she doesn't even know he's a millionaire. So it's you know, it's these types of, you know, negative misconceptions that people make about, you know, the entrepreneurs and the, you know, the investors into the crypto space. So kind of going down, let's embrace the new demographic, right? So they're going to be male, 18 to 44. You know, that's your lion's share of the demographic. They're going to be male, 74%. Their race is going to be white. They're going to have one or more dependents, and they're actually going to be non-homeowners. So now with all this information and why I tried to give this to you and help you with this was due to the fact that I was trying to help you guys understand how to create a story for my generation to, you know, sympathize and send, right? Because we view causes and we're cause-based, like Jason was saying. We try to like send immediately. Like we're all about instant gratification. And if I know you need it and I have it, I'm going to send it. So I was trying to really, so when you're building these stories and, you know, you're kind of marketing to people and you're going after this market, which is huge, you'll understand who you're going after. So I hope this helps.
So good.
So, all right. I think any questions? We're kind of to the review stage. I wanted to leave a little bit of time at the end to kind of go over questions you guys have. And it seems like you guys are really engaged, and, you know, thank you for all the questions. And, you know, it just drives me to want to help you guys more, which is awesome because I love to do this stuff and I love to share my knowledge. So what we'll do is we'll review, go back a slide, Jason, sorry. Yep. So just to kind of wrap up and explain, you know, what we talked about and the intro to the currency space, the crypto space. You know, it is a digital asset, but it's legal for donation. You know, a lot of people didn't know it was illegal, but the national organizations have been doing it right around 2017, 2018 is when they got really involved. And you'll see all these organizations just kind of flourishing off that. Understanding the markets, you know, 2026, $3 trillion. You know, that's a big market to kind of accept this new donor base from. There's, you know, a lot of simple processes to target for your audience, right? So you have your demographic now. You know what your target audience is, and you know your likely donors, right? You know, advantages, you know, worldwide. It's ease of access at this point. So the ease of being able to donate to, you know, building wells in Africa, right? That's a big one. That's one of the biggest charity wallets in the world right now for cryptocurrency, because they don't have to convert, send internationally. They just send it through. And then, you know, importance of connection. That's probably the key there for pushing and accepting, you know, your cryptocurrency. So I think there's one more slide, and then we can take questions. So this was actually Hal Finney. He's actually a crypto icon. He was the first transaction in the world on Bitcoin. He received the first Bitcoin ever sent. And, you know, it's just, this is really the mindset of everybody in this space. Since we're all rich with Bitcoin, we ought to put some of this unearned wealth to good. So that's the thing is, you know, these guys, since the inception of cryptocurrency, they're really out here to share and help, surprisingly. So that kind of concludes this first little section. And, you know, there's going to be more, obviously, but if you guys have questions or anything like that, please feel free to ask.
We're going to draw a winner here in just a few minutes. So just stick with us for a second. I just want to say thank you very much. For one, Derek, obviously coming on and providing all this insight, because I learned a lot. You know, I really did think that, you know, most crypto guys were just playing Xbox and, you know, hanging out, because that's what my 17-year-old, almost 18-year-old son tends to do when he's not playing soccer or doing something in school. He's playing Xbox and telling me how much he made in crypto. So it's kind of an interesting space. But I think it's more is how much money is being donated to nonprofits like yours. And I wanted to ask a question, because you said something. You said, you know, drilling water, you know, water wells in Africa. They've got like this largest wallet. One of the reasons is because they embraced it really early, and they focused and started putting out their mission drive. You hear us talk about it all the time. Mission drive. You got to keep that in front of your donors and new donors. And that's really one of the way that how they got that going, isn't it, Derek, that they really focused on those people, the donors,
yeah.
The potential donors?
Yeah, so absolutely. So the biggest thing and the biggest reason why, you know, some organizations do better than others, right? It kind of goes back to non-technical stuff, right? It goes back to connections. It goes back to all of these things that, you know, that are kind of, you know, important for fundraising and all of these aspects. You know, I'm not well versed in fundraising language. I'm well versed in, hey, I can write a smart contract. I can set you up a wallet. I can do all this stuff, and I don't mind, and I'll help you until my heart's content. But as far as like, you know, you could probably speak to it more than me, Jason. Is, you know, why are other you know, organizations receiving more funding than others, right? It's like, well, we're all good. We should all, you know, get the same amount. But then it's the same thing.
I can answer it real quick, because they're asking. Number one, they've put together the crypto wallet. They've asked for it, and they've said, hey, we're here, and they've targeted those people specifically. No different than us going through and, you know, and the thing I think is really important, the size of your organization does not dictate the mission that people are going to connect to. And I've used this 100 times, this example, over the past couple of years. My daughter, Morgan, gave money to a puppy that was born with feet upside down. I can tell you now, she probably didn't really think about who it was. She probably didn't know anything about the organization, but she cared about the mission. This was a puppy. They were asking for money. She donated to it, and just that quick. That's why your mission's so important. It's not you or your organization, or, you know, the fact that you've been around for 50 years or 5 years or 15 days. It's about the mission and what they're going to do. So
sure.
We're going to send some recommendations. Go ahead, Trevor, please.
We have questions. We have questions. Look, Derek's ready.
Yeah. So it says, you know, Christy, you know, I look forward to the email to get our wallet set up and started and receiving crypto donations. Thank you, Christy. I'll definitely kind of hop on that. And I have some of it built. I'm really trying to dial it into the person that doesn't know anything about crypto. So it's a lot. You know, it's looking like Tim wants some recommendations on wallets and, you know, how to transfer the digital asset into a bank account. So I'm still building the wallet portion to allow these you know, non-technical people a step-by-step to say, hey, this is how we do it for our organization. And we're just going to send that to you guys, because we want you guys to win. And so that's what I'm doing right now is I'm helping HGA, do this for you guys. And so, just bear with me. I'm a one-man show, right? So yeah. I'm building all this stuff from scratch. I'm just doing it to help you guys out. So I will get to all this and step by step walk you through the process.
I've got a question, and just by a show of hands, and you can just pop up down the raise hands. Who's interested in coming back for some more deep dive and some of this technical stuff about how we could do it, how this works?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would hate to build something for nobody. Yeah, because
thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
well, that was one of the, when we did this, it was like, how in the world, we don't even know,
yeah, we don't know if they're ready to receive it.
And so we wanted to just put this out there to ask those questions. So we'll definitely get all this stuff out. I've got a winner. I'm going to go ahead and draw this. Derek, thank you so much. Yeah. Really appreciate you being here. And go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, so good, Derek. Seriously, amazing. Yeah, I'm so impressed. Can't thank you enough. And motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Hey, it starts with one. It starts with one. If I can help one person, they can help a million, right? So that's where it's at.
And I think something that's sticking out at me, like a wide lens view, is that you're not late to this game. If you're an organization, you're early. You're an early adopter, as a matter of fact. You might not be first, but that's okay. There's only one of those. You know what I mean? There's only one of those gentlemen that had the first transaction in Bitcoin. So you're not going to lose, and you're not going to be, quote unquote, behind the 8 ball if you don't get involved, because you have steps and people that you need to cross reference this with and all that good stuff. But if you're early, that's a win. I think it's huge. And I love the demographics. I love that you're identifying the donor base. I think that's really important. Obviously, that net's going to get wider and wider. I think that's amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm really inspired.
I think that's the thing that you're going to see is people are going to be more and more, it's going to become more mainstream, to use the term. If 46 million Americans are going to be owning Bitcoin, that's a significant piece of the population. So it's not going to be just all the Xbox gamers hanging out thinking it's cool.
15% of the population. That's 15% of the population. I mean, think of that. It
is a huge amount of money.
Yes, with the ability to
it is staggering. And as more people get in, the price is going to. The price is going to continue to go up with scarcity.
The main thing,
go ahead, Derek.
Jason, sorry. You have your winner. Let's get these folks out here.
So congratulations. Big drum roll. Oh, where did she go? There she is, Stephanie King. Way, Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie, congratulations. You are the winner, sticking with us today. And
Stephanie, we wish we could send you a Bitcoin. We wish we could send you a Bitcoin.
Yeah, we wish you could do that. What we're going to do is we're going to send you something, and maybe you'll be able to raise a whole lot of money with it and get into this. So we're excited. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in today. Derek, thank you so much. We're going to get this information. Give us a little, normally I get it out the same day, but it may be tomorrow because there's a lot of information we're going to try to send with this for you guys. I'll have Derek's email, my email, jason@hgafundraising.com, trevor@hgafundraising.com. Reach out to us. We're always here to help. We hope you'll join us next week, same time, same bat channel, Thursday, noon Central, and we'll be here with some great information to help you raise more money.
Thanks so much, Derek. Can't thank you enough. That was amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. See y'all next week. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.